Hey, it's Aubrey. Welcome to this week's What's for Dinner. If you're new, hi. And if you're coming back, thank you. This week was kind of crazy with my husband being out of town. We went out to eat more times than I'd like to count, but it was nice not having to cook. So, come along and stick around for 3 easy and yummy meals I made this week for my family. So tonight is Sunday and we are having Philly cheesesteak sloppy joes. So what you need for that is ground beef, 1 green bell pepper, 1 small yellow onion, some provolone cheese, some beef broth, some ketchup. I'm using A1 steak sauce instead of Worcestershire because I do not have Worcestershire sauce. Some cornstarch and some rolls. Also, this recipe called for mushrooms, but I forgot to get mushrooms. And yeah, so let's get started. So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to brown your ground beef. And it doesn't tell me to, but I want to season it because I want to make sure it has enough flavor. So I'm just going to add a little bit of salt and then a little bit of pepper. All right, and then that's all I'm gonna do for now. I'm gonna wait for it to brown up, and then I'm going to take it out of the pan, leaving the fat from the ground beef in the pan to saute the diced up bell peppers and diced up onions. So now it says to add in your butter. And this is where you're going to add in your onions, your bell peppers, and your mushrooms. But we don't have mushrooms on hand, so we're just adding in the onions and the bell peppers. Then we're going to saute them. All right, so now we're going to add the beef broth to a bowl and some cornstarch. And we're going to mix that together. My tiny whisk died, so I'm having to use this big one. Actually, it seems to be working fine. So now we're going to check on the peppers and onions. They are doing really good. Alright, so now we're going to add the ground beef back to the pan. And stir it all together. Then it says to add about 2 tablespoons. It's about 2 tablespoons of ketchup. And now this is when you're going to add the Worcestershire, but I don't have Worcestershire, so I'm going to add in the A1. And now I'm adding the beef broth cornstarch mixture. And I've already added salt and pepper, so I'm going to wait and see if it needs it.
You as you drive, do you know I'm looking, and I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on, I put my feet up, and we just...
Now that the mixture has thickened, I diced up the provolone cheese and I'm adding it to the ground beef mixture. At first, I only added half of the package of provolone cheese, thinking I would top the sandwiches with the rest of the slices, but as I got to stirring it, I made the decision to just cut up the rest of the cheese and add it in. I sliced the Hawaiian rolls in half horizontally and put them in a baking dish. And this is what the sloppy joe mixture ends up looking like. I'm just going to spoon that onto the rolls, and I end up just picking up the frying pan and pouring it over just because it was a lot easier to do it that way. And then cover it with the tops of the rolls. And I bake it in the oven. I'm gonna put the recipe in the description box down below. These were very good, but very messy. I had to use a fork to eat them. I also paired that with the leftover cauliflower mac and cheese that I had made in a previous, or my husband had made in a previous What's for Dinner, and I made some tater tots on the side. This was a great Sunday night dinner. On Monday night, we decided to go to one of our favorite burger places in the town that we live. It's called Tasty's, and they just have fresh burgers and homemade french fries. So that's what I got. It's just a regular cheeseburger and french fries, and it was very, very tasty.
I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment.
So I made up my normal meatloaf recipe and I stuffed it into the egg bites mold, and I still have some meat left over, so I'm going to have to do like a second batch, which is perfectly fine because it's just my son and I eating tonight, so this is going to be plenty for us. So what it says is to place some foil loosely over it. And then put it in the Instant Pot. Now you're gonna put it over a trivet. And there's already a cup of water in there. So I'm going to place my lid on and make sure it's set to sealing. And then it says manual pressure for 18 minutes. And then let it release naturally. So I have 2 potatoes diced up in the water to boil so I can make mashed potatoes. And then I just have a can of corn going to be heating up. So I'm gonna have mashed potatoes and corn to go with the meatloaf. When I took the meatloaves out of the Instant Pot, they were cooked. I just wanted them to brown up a little bit on top. So I placed them in the oven for I think maybe 5 minutes just to brown up on top, and they were perfect, and they were so tender and very, very good. Also, I don't put a ketchup type sauce on top of my meatballs when I'm making it. I just add ketchup on the side and dip it in. That's just how I've always eaten meatloaf, so that's the way that we like it. I paired the Instant Pot meatloaves with mashed potatoes and some gravy, as well as some corn and some frozen Pillsbury biscuits. I decided to make some chocolate chip cookies for my son and I for dessert that night. This is just the package from Aldi of the cookie mix, and they turned out really good. I mean, we had like 2 before dinner and then like 2 after dinner. Honestly, they were something that we snacked on all week, and we enjoyed them. Okay, so for this recipe, you need some penne rigate noodles. You need 1 tomato, but the tomato that they were using in the video that I saw was pretty big. So I'm using 2 tomatoes. And then for the spices, you need salt, pepper, salt, oregano, and red pepper flakes. And then you need media crema. I've never cooked with this before. It is table cream. So, yep. And then you also need tomato sauce and water, and then chicken as well. So right here, I'm just dicing up 2 chicken breasts, which will go on top of the dry noodles in the baking dish. line the bottom of the baking dish with some olive oil spray, and then I'm gonna pour the entire 16-ounce box of penne noodles onto the bottom of the dish. Then you'll see me adding the diced up chicken on top of that. You do not need to boil the noodles beforehand because the chicken is raw, so it needs time to cook as well. So you're gonna bake this in the oven for 50 minutes, and that is plenty of time to cook the noodles. Although I will say that the edges of the noodles are a little, I guess, kind of hard. They're cooked, but like just chewier, I guess is the best way to put it. So you add the chicken on top, and then you're gonna dice up the tomato and put that on top of the chicken. So now what I'm doing is making the sauce that's going to go over the noodles, the chicken, and the tomatoes, which is going to bake it all and make it yummy. So I'm adding some tomato sauce to the bowl, and then I'm going to add in the media crema. Then I whisk it up and add some water and whisk it up some more, and then you'll see me adding in some oregano, some salt, pepper, and also some red pepper flakes. Now, one thing I want to mention is my son is kind of sensitive to spice, and I wasn't even thinking. I didn't think that 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes would be that much, but I was wrong. It had a little kick to it, so if you don't like spicy things, I'm not sure if you'll like this. It wasn't super spicy where it was too hot to eat. It was really good, but for my son, it was too spicy for him. So he ended up eating something else this night, but we finished off the leftovers the next day, and I have to tell you, this was so good, and I highly recommend that you guys give it a try. I'm going to link the video where I saw it. It was a Facebook video, and I saw it and I said to myself, this is something I have to make, and I did, and I'm so happy that I gave it a try. It really is something new, and my husband said that it's something I need to put on our regular rotation to make, and it was really simple. And the fact that you can put it in one dish and bake it, and you don't have to like boil the noodles and cook the chicken and then assemble it. It was just like one dish meal. That made it really nice. Now I'm just going to top it with some shredded mozzarella. I had a block of mozzarella on the side just in case I needed more, but thankfully what I had left over was more than enough to top the dish, and it was perfect. The perfect amount of cheese. This is how it looked when it came out of the oven. I was so happy with it. I'm going to link the recipe video where I found this in the description box down below. We just paired it with some crescent rolls, and that was it. It was the perfect one-dish meal and a great ending to our week. Thank you so much for watching this week's What's for Dinner. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a like and consider joining my YouTube family. If you try any of these recipes, please comment down below and let me know which one and if you enjoyed it as well as our family did. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.